Yeti Coolers is headquartered in Austin, Texas, and we make the world's greatest insulated products. We were founded in 2006 by Roy and Ryan Cedars, who created the Yeti Tundra, which was the first cooler to ever be certified grizzly proof. We've seen explosive growth. In 2012, we did $65 million in revenue. Last year, we did $150 million in revenue, and this year we're pacing somewhere north of $350 million in revenue. We sell our products primarily through our dealers, big box accounts like Bass Pro, Cabela's, Academy, but also independent retailers like your local bait shop. We even sell at a kitchenware store in Fredericksburg, Texas. We've also obviously cultivated a direct channel through e-commerce, and that's something that's newer for Yeti, but it's something that we're really passionate about. As we started to evaluate hosting partners, we looked at vendors that offered both managed cloud as well as unmanaged cloud. Without the IT expertise in-house here at Yeti, choosing the unmanaged cloud would mean that I'm on my own. And that's a very helpless situation, even thinking about it. And so it made the selection fairly obvious to go with a managed cloud. The Rackspace Managed Cloud really helped us by having someone I could pick up the phone and call to answer my questions, to help design the right infrastructure to support the business that we're trying to create. Rackspace always uses the term fanatical support. What fanatical support means to me is that it's truly an extension of our team. We focus on making and marketing and selling coolers and other insulated products, and we let Rackspace do the rest. We leverage the in-house expertise of Magento at Rackspace. Every e-commerce platform has its own idiosyncrasies. Having a hosting provider that is aware of those and knows how to make the configuration work is really important to me. We don't want to be the first ones to make Magento work with a hosting provider that's never done it before. The problem that we are trying to solve is how do we create the Yeti experience in a digital format? Rackspace is a partner that really helps us make sure that we're able to fulfill that brand promise in the digital space.
So please join me in welcoming from Yeti, Sara Kenton.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's really exciting for us to be here. We talk a lot about our products, and a lot of folks ask us to talk about our products, but we very rarely get to talk about the customer experiences that we're creating, and in this case, digital. So it's super exciting for us. A little bit of background about myself. Prior to joining Yeti, I spent time at two technology startups in Austin. One by the name of Core Metrics, which was web analytics before Google Analytics existed. And we focused on omni-channel, before omni-channel was a term, e-commerce customers like Nordstrom, Anthropologie, and Urban Outfitters. From there, I went to HomeAway.com, which, if you're not familiar, is a website where you can use to find vacation rentals as a traveler. And on the back end, if you're an owner who wants to list a property, there's a suite of tools that you can list and market and manage your vacation rentals. And then from there, after 4 years at HomeAway, I joined Yeti in 2012. And for those of you who are not familiar with Yeti, as mentioned in the video, we were founded in 2006. And by two brothers named Roy and Ryan Cedars, who are avid sportsmen. They absolutely love to hunt and fish. And if they're not in the office, they're typically on a boat or in a tree. And every time they would go out hunting or fishing, all of their gear would be premium. And the one point of failure was their cooler. And so they set out on a mission. They wanted to create a cooler that simply wouldn't break. And that was the Yeti Tundra. And it was, as mentioned in the video, the first grizzly-proof cooler. And yes, that's a fun term, and yes, it's fun to show a bear trying to get through a cooler, but it's actually one of the only coolers allowed past a certain point within Yellowstone National Park. So it's really exciting for us. Since then, we've expanded into other product categories. As you see here, the Rambler Drinkware series, as well as the first soft-sided cooler, the Hopper series. We've experienced explosive growth, as you saw in the video. And at the heart of that has been our passionate customers. And from the very get-go, we've had true advocates out there in the marketplace, folks who tell their friends and family about our products and why they love them and why they really need to spend $500 for a cooler, which seems crazy. And they've been so critical to our growth that we've really tried to figure out how do we keep them at the center each and everything that we do. And that means making sure that before we roll out a product, it truly lives up to the brand promise, the durability, the ice retention. We will wait if a product is not ready before we roll it out. And that's something that's really core to what we believe. But that's also true when we talk about the customer experiences. So we talk about, when one of our Yeti outfitters, our customer service team, answers the phone, we want that experience to also reinforce our brand. We want that to be a premium experience as well. When we craft emails responding to our customers, that needs to be premium. And finally, all of the interactions that take place in a digital environment, which is my world, has to be digital as well, or it has to be premium as well. And from the digital perspective, it's an opportunity for us to truly have that one-on-one conversation, whether it's in social media, whether it's through our website, our customer reviews from Bazaar Voice. It's the only true opportunity that we really get to have that one-on-one conversation with them. And so when I joined in 2012, the challenge was clear. We needed to build an e-commerce group, department and business unit from the ground up. We also needed to elevate the brand experience so that it was on par with our brand promise. It was on par with our products. And then we also needed the runway to support growth. So it's almost a joke, our monthly reforecast, because the numbers just seem so laughable, but it just keeps accelerating. And so we have to keep this front and center. How do we make sure that we are truly building platforms that, yes, will work today, but will also work next month, December, February of next year, March of next year when we roll out our spring release. And when we set out to achieve these objectives, we've done a number of different things. We've created a customer database. We've started email marketing, ad hoc emails, life cycle emails, paid search. You name it, we've done it. But one of the biggest parts of reinventing our digital experience and our e-commerce vision is reimagining YetiCoolers.com. And our vision was to elegantly weave together brand, storytelling, and commerce. And if we felt like if we could do that, we're going to create an easy and effortless experience that's symbolic of the experience that you have with our coolers. The one caveat is that we didn't have any internal IT expertise. So we needed to achieve these objectives, but there was no one inside the walls of Yeti to really help get it done. As a side note, one of the interesting perspectives you get when you've been at 3 different startups, 2 of which are technology, one is a consumer product company, is that the first 40 employees at tech companies are typically technologists. They're front-end developers, they're back-end developers, they're folks who know all about hosting. When you think about the first 40 employees at a consumer product company, they're folks who can build more of that product, design better products, sell those products, and ship those products. They're not technologists. So we had to figure out how we were going to do this and do it without that internal expertise. So how'd we do it? Well, the first thing that we did was we almost approached it like we're building a house. And the first question you have to ask yourself when you're building a house is, what kind of house are we going to build? What does it look like? What's the layout? How does it flow? And we decided on Magento Enterprise after a pretty lengthy RFP process that we did internally at Yeti. And we chose Magento for a few different reasons. Number one, it had the runway for growth. It had a track record for supporting like-sized brands and retailers, as well as the cadence of growth. They've seen that before, and they were able to handle that. So that made us feel confident. Second piece is that there's a level of customization that comes with Magento Enterprise that, from a brand perspective, you want to make sure that you're not throwing out another templated experience. And so that was important to us. And then the next thing we needed to do, so we figured out what kind of house we're going to build. Now we needed to lay the foundation. And I'm all about being creative. I'm all about being innovative. But who wants to be creative and innovative with the foundation you're going to lay on your house, right? You want somebody who has a track record, who's done it 800 times. And so as we executed yet another RFP, we were looking for a hosting provider to work with Magento, to sit Magento on top of. And we started that search by only looking for hosting providers who were in the top tier of partners with Magento. And so I knew I needed these folks to work together, and so I was going to start with that list first. The other considerations we made as we went through that process was we wanted to make sure it could scale, of course. We needed the burstability to be able to support holidays like Father's Day and Christmas, as well as our new product launches. But we also needed service. And so coming from a technology background, again, when you have 40 other folks in your company that focus on technology, if something happens, if there's a problem with the customer experience or the shopping cart's down or something is broken, there's an entire hosting department, entire operations department. At both companies I've worked at, somebody had the bat phone, right? And somebody was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and if something went wrong, I could call the phone, they would fix it, they would write up and explain what happened, how they fixed it, and then we talked about how we prevent that from happening again. And it's very reassuring to have that expertise in the own walls of your company. So when you don't have that, it's very scary. So we had to figure out, how do I recreate that with external vendors? And Rackspace was obviously the choice that we made. They have a long history with Magento, and they have a ton of expertise in terms of making the two systems work together. The last piece that we had to go out and find before we started on this project was a general contractor, someone to pull it all together and someone to actually build the work, so the builder. And that is a solution provider by the name of Cora that we chose. This search was actually a lot more focused because we only looked at solution providers who were the top echelon in the partnership ecosystems of both Magento and Rackspace. So they all had communication pathways across all three of these different companies. And again, Cora was chosen out of New York City. So what's the outcome? Well, it took, let's see, 12 months to launch. And last April, we launched the reimagined YetiCoolers.com. And it's on the Magento Enterprise platform. And it's a platform that we are proud of. We're proud to send customers there. It is highly scalable. It's proven. It works on all devices. It's responsive. Our audience is very active. So a lot of folks, I think it's 68% of our total traffic is on a mobile device now. So we have to make sure it works on mobile, tablet, on desktop. And we're really happy with the results. The other piece is that it's proven to be scalable. We talked about the growth. We did $150 million as a company last year, and we're on track for somewhere well north of $350 million this year, with e-commerce being a significant or meaningful portion of that. And it's been able to scale. And right now, the conversations that we're having internally are not about replatforming, which I'm very appreciative of. It's not a fun process. You don't want to do it every 2 years. You want to have a platform that you can put in place and can take the growth that you're going to send that way. And the outcome is that we're allowed to focus on customers. If you look at how we've built our teams, if you look at how we've spent our time and our money, we focus on asking ourselves, how can we grow brand awareness? How can we grow brand affinity? How can we create lifetime customers through meaningful engagements with them in the digital space? We let folks like Rackspace and Cora and Magento work together, design recommendations, design solutions that are so much more powerful than anything that I could come up with working independently with each vendor. And I think as we go out and we look at a certain project, so say launching a new website, it's very easy to go out and pick one vendor that's best of breed, and then pick your horse and you go and implement it, and that's what it is. It's really important, I think, to always keep in mind how the vendors that you choose communicate with each other, what relationships they have, so that you get an outcome that you're proud of and that you can spend the time on what you're good at, and it may not be managed cloud hosting. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time today.